Hey guys, welcome back to Stuff and Things. Today we're gonna talk about a really big freaking issue that's kind of, we see it all over the world, but especially in the States, it's one of the biggest issues they do face. The issue of racism and race inequality. One of the biggest trials in terms of media coverage in the States that's probably gonna happen this year, the George Zimmerman trial of him shooting and killing Trayvon Martin, 17-year-old boy, last year. Back in February. By a jury of his peers, he was acquitted of all charges. He got off everything. They didn't go with the second-degree murder. They didn't go with manslaughter. Nothing at all. He got away scot-free for killing a 17-year-old boy. Of course, no, it was just self-defense. And with all the stories that were going about, with a massive amount of witnesses, it's hard to tell what really happened, unfortunately. But we're going to break it down for you a bit here. Back on February 26, 2012, this was the night everything went down. George Zimmerman, a wannabe cop, was patrolling the neighborhood and he was looking for someone to basically take responsibility for all of the break-ins and everything that had been happening, all by apparently young black kids. Noticed Trayvon Martin, things went down, and Trayvon Martin died. And George Zimmerman got a few scratches on his face, a little bit on his head, and that's it. It's kind of understandable since he is an older guy and skinny dude, little kid, gets beaten up. I mean, he's 17, not quite a little kid, but still. Because of Zimmerman's history and the 911 call that took place before he actually did the deed, the prosecutors were trying to get the second-degree murder charge on him because they did believe this was an intentional crime. Second-degree murder means you intended to kill someone. You did an action with intent, with malice, to actually cause a person to die. Later in the trial, they did decide that they were actually going to just try for manslaughter. If you don't think it's second-degree murder, if you don't think this was him, going out with a very specific intent to kill, if it was just a situation got out of hand, but he still did wrong and he killed a person, then you get manslaughter. Fortunately, not even that was good enough for a jury. From the start, this whole case has been just completely messed up. It took 44 days for Zimmerman to be arrested and prosecutors to actually lay charges on him. 44 days, month and a half. After a dude died, a dude was shot with his gun. And it looks like the only reason they even went to do anything was because of all the public outcry. Because, I'm sure all of you remember, the internet was just a swarm with people pleading for freaking authorities to do something, to actually maybe look into this matter, maybe investigate a little bit, maybe do your jobs as defenders of the peace. And who knows, would this even have happened? Like, would he even have done anything if people hadn't had the public outcry? Without the internet, if there was no internet, would this guy just walked right then? Would we have gone through this? Now, probably a big part of the reason why he did get acquitted of the charges was because there's 56 witnesses during the trial, and they all gave conflicting tales of what happened. Everyone had really, no idea. So many people just said stuff. The girl who was on the phone with him, that was interesting because looked like there was actually something there. She was talking with Trayvon right before the incident, literally just as it was happening. Trayvon says some stuff, get off me, stuff that did not sound like, hey man, what are you doing in my territory? And then, whatever gangy, thuggy things people say. I don't know, I'm not a thug. But just from that one little piece of evidence, it does seem to look that Trayvon was the one who was trying to defend himself. And so, if you look at it that way, if we look at it from the side of Trayvon, that he was defending himself, then any marks on Zimmerman are perfectly understandable. And then Zimmerman kills him. But because of all the conflicting witness testimony, there really wasn't a clear chain of events. We didn't have an exact, this thing happened, and then George Zimmerman came up, and then Trayvon did this, and George Zimmerman said this, and then this guy punched this guy, and this guy was on top of it. We could not say for certainty exactly what happened that night. That's really it right there. There was no key witness, so we just kind of had to go, well, things could have happened that way. If you paint the picture right, Zimmerman's either the good guy defending the neighborhood, or Trayvon's the disenfranchised youth and was slaughtered by a bigoted, racist dude. And for some funny reason, race seemed to be not a thing in the trial, even though this was clearly, yes, I'm on the side of Trayvon here, this was clearly a hate crime. This is clearly a white guy angry at black people for damaging his neighborhood, so he specifically targets another black person and kills the black person. Now, imagine if you will, we're in a black neighborhood. White man is stealing some stuff. Because hey, white man's robbed too. We rob. We're stupid as anyone else. White man comes to the neighborhood. White kid gets tracked down by this black guy. Black guy, they struggle. Black guy wins. White guy's down. What happens then? We already know what happens then. There's a woman back in May of 2012 who was sentenced to 20 years of prison because she shot at her ridiculously abusive husband in her own home. She defended herself. The same defense that Zimmerman used, the stand your ground law that just gives ridiculous leeway for self-defense. Ridiculousness. It's like, oh, there's a person over there who's doing something wrong. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah, self-defense. She used the exact same defense, and it didn't work. A white guy uses the same defense, and it works. I know it's not clear-cut as that. I'm not going to say that it is exactly that. But clearly, this should have been so many different things. It should have been a case of race, because that's what it was. There's no other explanation for this. It was just a man with a vendetta going against a person of a particular ethnicity, and now a killer walks free because not ours, I'm Canadian, but the justice system, and we share a very similar one, is a little messed up. It's a little wrong. Things can go haywire. The real repercussions is that George Zimmerman is probably going to die. Someone is going to kill him. He is acquitted of the crime, but the people do not feel that justice was served. And the people will probably seek what they feel is justice. Won't shed a tear for the guy, but that's not the way to do it. But it's probably going to happen. He's probably going to die real soon. Guys, I'd really love to know what you think about this incredibly depressing situation. I know we all were thinking it was going to turn out completely different. Let me know in the comments down below what you actually think of this. If you think it should have gone the way for Trayvon, or if this was proper justice. Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, if you like what you see, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll check it out on the next video.